class of State of International Affairs, and in today's class we'll be dealing with a extremely important and very fetching sort of current affair, which is basically Joe Biden's presidency. Mr. Joe Biden was recently inaugurated as the 46th President of the United States of America, and Mrs. Kamala Harris also is his running mate. Basically, she has been elected as the Vice President of USA. And all over the world, all the headlines of today's newspapers in India and mostly all over the world, this was the headline. Okay, I feel happy, I feel glad when there is an international relations headline as part of the newspaper, and this is one such instance. And I'm sure you also must be keen to know about what are the major takeaways from Joe Biden's presidency. And before we begin the topic, I would just like to remind you that Gradeup is conducting the Gradeup National Scholarship Test on 29 Jan 2021 from 12 p.m. onwards, and there is a large scholarship pool of 50 lakhs for the top 30 students. So please register to the test and also share it with your friends, especially the friends with a poorer background who want to take up the preparation for IAS or other competitive examinations. This is a huge boon for them. Okay. So, as I was saying, Mr. Biden has formally taken oath as the 46th president, finally, after the violent US Capitol clashes and after all the controversies, and ultimately the ex-president Trump didn't attend. He didn't attend the oath-taking ceremony. He was in Florida. He went to Florida and he's enjoying Florida. And it is one of a rare precedent where the outgoing president has not been present for the inauguration. Anyway, let's leave Trump in this happy occasion of Biden becoming the president. And all over, there are various news and various sort of developments which have taken place. Like on the first day itself, Joe Biden has signed 17 orders to undo Trump's legacy. He has signed orders joining the Paris climate change and scrapping the sort of travel bans, especially from the Muslim and the African nations, and many such of the Trump agenda. Like for the North American unity, he has signed an order. So many executive orders he has signed. And also Mexico, for example, Mexico has welcomed Joe Biden's inauguration and they want to halt the border wall construction between US and Mexico, the very good wall which Trump wanted to build. Okay, thank you so much, Ashneet. Okay, right now I'm not preparing for the exam, so maybe that's why I'm in a cool mood, right? Okay. And what is more important for us in our present situation is, what does it hold with India? What does it hold for India? Okay. And as Charan K is saying, the main thread of Biden's presidency would obviously be undoing Trumpism. Okay. You have stolen my words actually. And good evening, everyone. So let's jump into what it can mean for India. And for people who are preparing for the state PCS examinations, like I think the the Uttar Pradesh Public Service Commission examination is going on. Similarly, the Bihar Public Service Commission is going to come up. So for this is a sort of guarantee question. Okay, there would be a question somewhere directly or indirectly linked with this topic which we're discussing. So it's very important. And forget our examinations, even when you're talking to your parents about the international affairs, or agar aap chai peete if you're talking to your friends about what Biden can hold, this class will help you a lot. So please listen carefully. Ye hamara self-confidence ka sawal hai. Okay. And as an introduction, obviously, Mr. Biden, he has signaled that there will be a traditional norm and pattern of American foreign policy and diplomacy. Traditionally, the American foreign policy and diplomacy, even though if it's Democrats or Republicans, it tends to be the same. Okay, because there is a foreign policy office and the Secretary of State or the one who's heading the external affairs, they are very neutral to the political interference. Okay, just like how, for example, we have the speaker who's supposed to be politically neutral, the foreign policy office is supposed to be like that. But Trump has sort of scattered that. Okay, Trump got in his own views of anti-China or anti-Eastern countries and his own views of the Western bloc. So Trump has definitely made some, I shouldn't say irrevocable, but a huge change on the American foreign policy and diplomacy. Now Biden wants to revert back to the original pattern, which is an independent, neutral foreign policy. I'll tell you, as we are going through the lecture, I'll tell you some brief pointers for that. And for India, there may not be a lot of changes as we have bipartisan support for India-US partnership. Even during the electoral race, you must have seen that Republicans were say that Hindus for Republicans, and Democrats also had Hindus for Democrats. Okay, Indians for Democrats. So it was like a competition, like who can get the cake of Indian vote. So Indians definitely enjoy bipartisan support, and even in India, there is a lot of unanimous support. If you see BJP or Congress or major political parties, except of course the left, but the left, I shouldn't be saying this, but it has gone into a lot of background, especially in the national politics. If you see the CPI and CPIM, except them, all the major political parties have a sort of interest towards US, and BJP has an extremely positive interest towards US. So India has signed all the foundational agreements. Like, can somebody tell me the 3 agreements which India has signed for defense partnership? Does anybody know the name? योगिता मेहरा, ये क्लास इंग्लिश क्लास है एक्चुअली. आपको कहीं प्रॉब्लम है कोई टर्म में, आप बता दीजिए, मैं हिंदी में बताऊंगा आपके लिए. Somebody tell me the 3 defense agreements which India and US have signed. Anyone? The main agreements which are there between US and any other country, India has signed all of them. Yes, very good, Sharon. Becca, Lemoa, Comcasa, but you have told in the jumbled order. First, we have the Lemoa. Lemoa was signed. Then Comcasa. And recently, in October 2020, we have signed the Becca. Okay, you can just go to YouTube and search Defense Agreements of USA, Teja Sir. You'll find my lecture. I have explained all of these in depth. Okay, so we have signed all of them, and we have enthusiastically, we are supporting the Quad. Okay, Quad, which also we have discussed, USA, Japan, Australia, and India. The quadrilateral, India is largely supporting Quad, especially under the Prime Ministership of Narendra Modi, Mr. Narendra Modi. And it has not faced any political opposition in India. In the past, as I was saying, left parties were against India. Like, for example, when Manmohan Singh gave the flower, he gave a rose flower to Bush and he said, the people of India love you. Then Prakash Karat from CPI, he said, why do you want to make all of us part of your romance? So those days, left parties were against US, but presently that situation is not there, since left parties are nearly redundant in the national polity. And also in the China's misadventure, in LAC, there is an increased case for deepening ties between India and China. Okay, so from USA, there is a bipartisan support. From India, all the political parties support, and external factors also, they're positive. Okay, so क्या दो आंख चार हो गए बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में, so वैसा टाइप है. From USA, there is supporting. From India, there is supporting. And some of the optimistic possibilities, like presently, of course, nothing is certain. He has just taken the oldest president of USA has just taken as a 46th president, and nothing solid we can say. But from the various political science thinkers and various foreign policy experts, they are saying that Joe Biden has always advocated a strong relation with India. You can quote this in your answer. In 2006, he announced, "My dream is that in 2020, the closest nations in the world will be India and US." Okay, he told this 14 years back. And presently, we are there here. Okay, 15 years back, he has told this. Presently, we are in that situation. So according to him, 15 years back, presently, we have to be the most close nations in the world, India and USA. Please remember this statement. This is such a groundbreaking statement. And this he had told in 2006 itself. Okay, he had become the vice president under Barack Obama in 2009. So he had told 3 years before he became the vice president itself that will be the closest nations of the world, India and USA. And as senator in 2008, he had supported the civil nuclear initiative. Okay, the civil nuclear deal with the 123 agreement, which had started out during Bush and which was also taken up during the Obama administration, that also he had supported, and he had mobilized support in the parliament, in the US parliament. He had mobilized support for that bill to pass. And as we discussed in the security and economic congruence also, we are expecting some positive inputs. Like, for example, if you see the trade or economic aspects on the visa issue, during his election campaign, he has clearly indicated that he understands the significance of Indian immigrants. He wants to increase the number of high-skilled visas also. Like, for example, this came yesterday that Biden has signed his proposed immigration bill. Okay, in that, for example, every country around the world and USA, they have a sort of fixed quota. So from India, there are only 7% quotas for the H-1B visas. India, for example, there are only 7% quota. And this is a huge strain on the Indian IT professionals who are trying to work there. Every year, only 7% quota is there. The H-1B and even L-1 visas, as you know, during the Trump administration 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, he has temporarily blocked the H-1B visas. And before that also, there were a lot of controversies between H-1B visa and L-1 visas, their issuance and so on. Okay, I hope you're aware of it. And I hope you're aware of L-1 visa versus H-1 visa. Does anybody know the difference between H-1 visa and the L-1 visa? Anyone? Okay, H-1B visa is basically given by a company which is employing Indians, okay, for the first time. But L1 visas are for the companies which are MNCs. So if there's an MNC company like Google and it has its employees maybe in India, so it can take in that employee from India to US. That is by L1 visa. Okay, so L1 visas are more prestigious, they are more MNC oriented. H1B visa is the first time when you take in. So H1B visa is tougher to procure because L1 visa are still easily given because you're still part of the same company. That is where you get on-site. When you go on-site, if you're working in India and you're having to go on-site when you're working for the MNC, you get the L1 visa. All right, I hope you understand. So H1B visas are tougher, and Biden has got this immigration bill where this quota system which is there for the visas, he wants to undo that. Okay, this is the first major step he has taken. This is one solid step he's going to take. And on climate change also, he has signed the executive order that US will re-enter our Paris Agreement. Okay, and India is a huge star in the Paris Climate Change Agreement. Okay, for example, we have our INDCs. We should reduce 33 to 35% the carbon emissions. We should have 40% fossil fuels, 40% of non-fossil fuels. All this we are achieving. Okay, India is quite a good climate justice country all over the world if you see. So the cooperation on International Solar Alliance can be strengthened. I hope all of you are aware of International Solar Alliance. Can somebody tell me the headquarters of International Solar Alliance? Where is it? Yes, correct, Charan. Where is ISA? Yes, very good. Gurugram. Okay, it's in Gurugram, the NISC, National Institute for Solar Energy. Under its aegis, the ISA is there. It is the only sort of international organization which is headquartered in India. Okay, so it's very important. Its goal, for example, is 1000 gigawatts. 1000 gigawatts energy has to be produced by solar power. Okay, it was signed between India and France on the sidelines of the Paris Climate Summit. I hope you have studied in your environment. And if USA goes back to the Iran nuclear deal and better ties with Iran could prevail, since India, if you observed, in the last few years, we are not doing so much cooperation with Iran. Before 2016, there was a lot of talk on Chabahar port, on the Afghanistan Garland Road connection. All that was a lot of very prominent in our current affairs. But after this Trumpism, and after when Trump has scrapped the Iran nuclear deal with USA, then India also backtracked. India also is not positively engaging with Iran. Though, of course, Iran is a great player for us in the Middle East, India is still not doing that. But if USA goes back on this nuclear deal, and if it supports Iran, then India's position also will be bolstered. Okay, so these are the broad positive points which I could analyze. The first is, historically in 2006, Mr. Joe Biden was positive. He had told that India and USA will be the most closest nations. And in security, we have signed all the 3 agreements. Then economic congruence in trade. I'll tell you about trade also. And in visa issue, the Joe Biden administration seeks to welcome the immigrants. And in climate change, it's positive for us because India is a good player in Paris climate change. And the Iran nuclear deal and the Middle East policies bodes well with India. Okay, these are the main positives which we can expect from Biden's presidency. And there are some concerns also. Unfortunately, the Democratic Party and the American liberal community, they are pressure groups. Democratic Party, of course, through which Joe Biden has won, and the American liberal community, which is a pressure group backing the Democratic Party. Something like RSS backing BJP. Okay, something like that. Okay, not so intimate or so extrinsic to it, but something like that. And they have several concerns about the Kashmir special status issue. Article 370 was scrapped, Citizenship Amendment Act, and the religious intolerance in India. This is not my words. These are the words of American liberal community. I'm not saying intolerance बढ़ रहा है या नहीं बढ़ रहा है देश में. Okay. These are the words of American liberal community. They have told that there is a religious intolerance, CA and all. And Joe Biden also was personally disappointed with CA NRC. And he wanted to restore the rights of people of Kashmir under Article 370. Yes, for Chabaharpur, definitely they have told. But if USA is attacking Iran in all possible ways, except militarily, even though they give a free hand, do you think India will positively bode well with Iran? It'll try to keep some sort of distance, right? That is what they say, and these are the backhand talks which happen related to the international issues. And also, he has expressed commitment to Indo-Pacific policy. Okay, so India also wants a secure and prosperous India-Pacific, but the problem is Mr. Biden may not be as strong on China as Trump. Okay, and that is why the future of Quad may become a concern. Actually, indirectly, as all of us know, Quad is seen as a sort of regional grouping against China. It is part of the pivot to China policy of USA. Okay, it was there even during Barack Obama times. That's why some of them fear that Biden can lessen pressure on China. Okay, Trump had made it his own personal crusade to attack China. It was his own personal deal because he was from a MNC or he was a business background person. He was extremely concerned about the Chinese imports and Chinese trade deals and the devaluation of the Chinese yuan. Okay, those were his personal concerns. But Biden may have a neutral approach toward China. Of course, it's not to say that he'll be positive to China, but he won't be as aggressive as Trump. And this might go negative for us because India is heavily relying on USA. For example, we have studied the role of USA in India-China relations. So that might have a backtrack under Biden. And also under global trade negotiations, Biden would be as aggressive as Trump. So in China, he'll be less aggressive. He might be less aggressive. In global trade negotiations, he might be as aggressive as Trump. Because even during Obama time, even during Bush time, if you see, USA doesn't like multilateralism. Okay, it doesn't like the regional groupings. It wants to have a sort of bilateral deals with all the countries. Does anybody know why? Can somebody tell me why USA likes bilateral dealings with a country? Like USA wants to bilaterally deal with India. It wants to bilaterally deal with Pakistan, with the Japan, with China, rather than being a part of something like a multilateral UN-based organization or Paris climate deal or Quad and so on. Anyone knows the reason? This is actually a core point of international thought. Yes, of course, USA needs to maintain hegemony. That is fine. But what would it get by a bilateral deal? It can still be a hegemon in a multilateral sort of atmosphere if it wants. Okay, the thing is that in a bilateral relation, USA can exert its power better. Okay, if USA is negotiating with Philippines, okay, a small island nation like Philippines, island country like Philippines, then it can be more powerful. Okay, it can dictate terms. But if Philippines comes under ASEAN, all the 10 countries, then it's like, many ants can kill a big snake, that sort of thing. Okay, I hope you understand. This is a core point in international level thinking. So that's the reason why throughout US foreign policy, this is one major thread. That in global trade negotiations, that's why USA also doesn't like the WTO rulings many times. And it doesn't appeal to WTO also, unless if it goes against it, obviously it'll appeal. But it wants to keep a sort of bilateral trade deal because it can exert its power. Okay. And in conclusion, we can say that if Biden makes USA a champion of economic globalization, it would benefit India. Because the Democratic Party, the Democrats, even during the time of Barack Obama, for example, Barack Obama has told, globalization is a fact because technology, because of an integrated global supply chain, because of changes in transportation, and we are not able to build a wall against that. You can write it in an essay on globalization, or even PSIR students can use this quote. So Obama has always believed in globalization, and under Trump and under the rightist agendas of many countries in the Western region, they are against globalization. Initially, during 90s and 2000s, they enjoyed a lot in globalization. Their MNCs and all, they have made a lot of money. But now they have become inward looking. Now India wants to get those benefits. Now India wants to reap the benefits of globalization. And if Biden also, ultimately it hinges on this. If Biden will take the globalization path, it would be beneficial for India. Okay, and India can also chalk out a strategic response against the trade and economic front, which we might see even under Biden. We can get a strategic response because it won't be a flip-flop. Under Trump, if in 1 month he was blaming Harley Davidson, in another month he had given trade authorization partner to India. So that sort of lot of flip-flops are happening under Trump administration. That's why, writing about US foreign policy was a big issue. Even for PSIR students, there was no continuity of thought except China. Against China was always negative, but against other countries, there was a sort of flip-flop which he had done. But now there might be a sort of consistent approach under Joe Biden. And the overall change, if you see, it might be marginally beneficial itself. Because India will remain a potential ally in a troubled neighborhood for defense, counter-terrorism, cooperation of climate change, the Indo-Pacific policy, the immigration regime, because there is a large diaspora in USA, under the soft power of USA and the soft power of India can meet. So all such things can happen. And on the whole, according to my analysis, it would be beneficial. Okay. Yes, today's editorial was about equalization levy and DST. Yeah. So these are all evolving issues. So we need to see. But USTR as such, even that has a continuity threat. If you can see the intellectual property regime, the section 301, the 301 report of US which it gives, and the USTR regime, they're always sort of against India. Because these are the ones dealing with trade and economy. And whenever there is trade and economy, US tries to give a critical analysis on South Asia. Not only India, on Pakistan, on Bangladesh, and all the South Asian countries, on even the Southeast Asia, USA has a negative tinge towards the economic and trade deals. Okay, fine. That's my analysis, and that's the end of today's class. And all of you, you can just follow my profile. You can press my profile on the Gradeup app, or if you're watching on laptop, this is how it will look. And you can follow me. Whenever there's a video by me, whenever there's a class by me, you'll be reminded. And that's the end of today's class. So any doubts regarding Joe Biden's administration and the possibilities which can occur, you can ask me, but I can't give you a definitive answer because it's still evolving. Okay, the poor guy, it's just been one day since he has inaugurated, so there's only so much we can discuss. And for people who are not part of our Gradeup, we have the Gradeup Super subscription, where we have a comprehensive IAS 2021 course in both English and Hindi medium. In this, we'll be covering the entire UPSC IAS course in 350 plus live classes, where you'll be getting access to 325 plus PDFs. There'll be additional class of Yojana, Yearbook, Kurukshetra and CSAT. There'll be also added 30 mock tests for prelims and 12 mock tests for your mains examination. So all of them are bundled as part of the Gradeup IAS course, IAS 2021 course. And apart from this, just taking the Gradeup Super subscription, you'll also get access to the UPSC EPFO and the complete NCERT module for class 6 to 12th. So the entire NCERTs, if you're just starting out your preparation, if you need proper guidance and if you're finding the concepts of UPSC are quite tough, you can join this, where from absolute ground zero, it will be taught to you, the entire NCERTs. And this is our faculty. I hope you're aware of us. We keep coming in the free classes, and we are the ones who will also be taking up all the classes of Gradeup Super. Okay, we have our subject domains: polity, economy, geography, economics, ethics, science and tech, NCERT. So there are teachers based on the subject domains. So we are the ones who will be teaching the Gradeup Super classes also. And this is the cost for the Gradeup Super subscription. You can get in touch with our counselors on this number if you're planning to join the Gradeup Super. Okay. Fine. And for people who are watching the class on YouTube, you can download the Gradeup app. Yes, of course, Kabir Prasad Malik. We have just discussed the good relation between India and Biden since 2006, since 2008. He was advocating for a positive relation between India and USA. Okay, so please download the Gradeup app. Kyunki on Gradeup app, under the Prepare tab, you can see all our free classes which we are offering daily on an hourly basis. Every hour almost there is a free class, and there is a daily editorial analysis, EPFO analysis, the special lectures, GS for IAS, daily current affairs, and like my lectures every day from Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. under the state of international relations. Okay, so every day, Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. you can watch me on the Gradeup app and also on the Gradeup IAS YouTube channel. But it's better on the Gradeup app because you'll be getting the reminder and you can see all the classes at one place. And you won't be getting the annoying recommendations which you might be getting in YouTube. Okay. So thank you so much, people, for this class. I hope you had a good idea about Joe Biden, what his presidency will hold. And if anybody is discussing with you about Joe Biden's presidency, I hope you'll get a well-rounded view. And for people who are having the state PCS examinations, where IR is a part, this is, I can expect at least 99% probability that this question can be asked. So prepare well from this class which you have seen. Download the Gradeup app, practice topic-wise quizzes, and keep attending the live classes. And for people who are part of the Gradeup app, you can also watch my class, coming up class at 8 p.m., where I'll be discussing the Human Development Report of 2020. Okay, it has made some starking comments on the Anthropocene, and several new additions are added in the HDI report. I'll be discussing that comprehensively. Okay, so see you at 8. And for the people with IR only, I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Okay, thank you so much. Prep smart, score better, and go Gradeup. Okay, let me end the class. Okay, welcome Ketaki, Mukal, welcome Anurag, welcome Misha. Thank you so much for this class. Bye.